The president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro Moros, offered this Saturday his annual message before the parliament, where he presented the balance of his management of the government during the year 2021. Former Haitian senator and suspect in the magnicide of Jovenel Moïse, John Joel Joseph, was captured in Jamaica. Corruption, lawfare, and violence continues in Colombia. We have more on the matter in this news brief. From the headquarters of TeleSUR English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South. I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada, and these are the news. The president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro Moros, offered this Saturday his annual report before the National Assembly, highlighting that both the public powers and the Venezuelan people have grown during the year 2021. Maduro announced that after 5 years of economic war, Venezuela recovered the economic path. In the third quarter of the economy achieved a growth of 7.6%, and the institutions project an economic growth of more than 4%. He also emphasized that the consumption increased in families. He said there was a growth of 4.9% in consumption, as well as 8.7% in government consumption. The money in circulation increased to 3.1% of investment, showing economic growth. He also praised national achievements in matters of health, communication, education, and culture. As part of his remarks, President Maduro said that he was there to fulfill his constitutional duties and commitments in front of the legislative power of the nation.
To meet the commitment that I have before the legislative power of the nation. January 15, 2022. When you see how the years go by, you will become aware of how important what we have done is. Deputy members, here I am one more time in front of you. In front of you, who are the real legislators in Venezuela that is representing you here, present today, aware today.
The head of state expressed that this was the year of consolidation, of political peace, strengthening the national dialogue, and of the internal stability of the nation.
2021, and it was expressed like that a year ago before this National Assembly, was the year of the consolidation of political peace, strengthening of a national dialogue, the strengthening of internal stability of the nation, of the strengthening of the functioning of public powers and institutions in Venezuela, well beyond difficulties. It was a special year for politics. It was a special year to succeed the conspiracy that's been going on for years, that pretended, that has pretended and still does today, a duality, a destabilization of powers. And the National Assembly became the axis, the epicenter of re-institutionalization and strengthening of public powers and democracy in Venezuela. This is the first major achievement of 2021. You became the center, you became the political epicenter and legislative epicenter of debate of ideas and the epicenter of freedom and the epicenter of a functioning of the re-institutionalization necessary of public powers in Venezuela.
The Venezuelan president, Nicolás Maduro, also stressed that the election number 29 of these 22 years, the mega elections for governorship, demonstrated once again the unbeatable strength of the electoral system of Venezuela.
with the call for the 29th elections of these 22 years, the mega elections for governorship and mayor's office, it was proven one more time the strength, the undefeatable strength of the electoral system computerized in Venezuela. It was impressive. These were elections that left a political map very balanced, we can say. Now has been completed with the elections in Barinas.
President Nicolas Maduro expressed that it is difficult to face a political process when the nation has so many objective problems created by the economic war.
It is difficult to face a process, a political process, when we have so many objective problems created by economic war of all these years, when we have actually been subject to the greatest attacks that have ever been conducted against Venezuela in 200 years of republic. And in this objective situation, we could actually say, and we can tell the whole people of Venezuela, we have obtained a very good result, a balanced result, a fair, necessary. And now what I ask governors, mayors, is to go outside and do your work. Go and resolve the problems of our people and try to solve the needs of our people. It is your time now.
And we'll be right back after this very short break, so don't go away. Welcome back. Over 6 months later, the truth about the assassination of the Haitian president Jovenel Moïse has yet to be known. More than 40 people had been arrested, and the most recent capture occurred this very weekend in Jamaica after human rights organizations denounced that the judicial investigation in Haiti to find all those responsible for the assassination is blocked. We have more on the matter in the following story.
A former Haitian senator suspected of being a key player in the assassination of the Haitian president was arrested this weekend in Jamaica, where he is presumed to have arrived since December, a fugitive from justice. John Joel Joseph, a well-known opponent of Jovenel Moïse, is accused by the Haitian police of providing weapons and planning meetings like this one in Florida, where the plot was organized. Last October, also in Jamaica, another key link was captured. Former Colombian military officer Mario Antonio Palacios, who was deported to his country after a stopover in Panama. A coordinated action between Colombia and the United States led him to Florida, where he is now accused of conspiring to kill the president of Haiti. The rest of the mercenaries have pointed to Elias Floro as one of those who knew that the real plan was to assassinate Jovenel Moïse. Also apprehended last week in the Dominican Republic was the Haitian businessman, convicted drug trafficker, and DEA informant Rodolphe Jarre, who in an interview with the New York Times acknowledged his contribution of around $130,000 to provide weapons and lodging to more than 20 Colombian mercenaries. He also alleged that he joined the plot because the conspirators claimed to have the full support of the United States. But according to the Times, there is no evidence of an active connection with the U.S. government. However, in Haiti, the investigation did not look into the financial connections of at least 2 Haitian banking institutions that received high amounts from the country, of at least 6 citizens of residents implicated in the assassination. At the time, the FBI raided the house, but no new details have been known about the Ecuadorian-born U.S. citizen Walter Ventimilla, a mortgage and insurance broker who acknowledged that his global capital lending group participated in the financing of a change of government for Haiti, but was not part of the assassination. The FBI has also not commented on the legal status of two managers of CTU security registered in Miami as the Federal Academy Counterterrorism Unit. Antonio Intriago, an immigrant of Venezuelan origin, and Arcángel Pretelt, a former member of the Colombian Army, native of Cali and resident in Florida, are accused by the Haitian police of participating in the plot of the crime. According to the Haitian National Network of Human Rights, the investigations to find all those responsible have yet to clarify the links between the current Prime Minister Ariel Henry and former official of the Ministry of Justice, who is said to be responsible for coordinating the assassination in real time. Joseph Barrio, still a fugitive, spoke before and after the crime at least 12 times with the current president of Haiti, according to telephone records revealed in September 2021 by the prosecutor Bedford Claude. Dismissed after requesting that the Prime Minister explain this relationship before the court. Some sources assured that 4 months after the assassination, the fugitive visited the official residence of the Prime Minister 2 nights, without major obstacles from the security guards.
Now we move on to other topics. On Saturday, night riot forces repressed Honduran migrants who were part of the first caravan of the year in the Central American nation. The officers fired tear gas against a group of about 600 asylum seekers who were trying to cross the border in Izabal, Guatemala. The public forces justified the use of this type of ammunition with an alleged stone attack by the asylum seekers. The caravan departed from the city of San Pedro Sula, escorted by Honduran police in hope of crossing safely into Guatemala. Migrant support organizations urged the migrants not to undertake the trip. In 2021, the Guatemalan government stopped a migrant caravan around the same time of the year. Now we move on to other topics. Chile's coasts were hit during the afternoon and evening of Saturday by an extraordinary swell after the eruption of an underwater volcano near the island of Tonga. In the northern part of the country, the coast received a tsunami with waves of almost 2 meters high, and slight flooding was registered in the cities of Iquique and Atacama. During the day, coastal evacuations were ordered in 14 of the 16 regions of Chile, and red alert was declared in 6 specific zones where a safety level of 30 meters above sea level was established. However, as the hours pass, all the regions lowered the alerts to precautionary status so that the population can return to their homes but not to the beaches. 2 people died in Peru due to abnormal waves caused by a volcanic eruption in Tonga, reported the National Police on Sunday morning. According to the National Police of Peru, 2 people were found dead on the beach of Nailap near the northern city of Lambayeque. Regional media assured that the victims were 46 and 23 years old when they were hit by waves of more than 2 meters, which caused the sea to go out when a vehicle was driving along the beach. The Peruvian Navy concluded that the eruption in Nuku'alofa, Tonga, does not cause a tsunami warning on the coast of Peru, but confirmed that unusual behavior has occurred in some coastal areas and has intensified with the presence of abnormal waves, combining the rising tide or high tide phase. And we have more stories coming up after this final short break, so stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. Former Colombian Senator Piedad Córdoba offered a public message after being victim of a political media smear operation that links her to alleged corruption. The human rights activist denounced that the attacks seek to discredit the historic PACT coalition in view of the upcoming presidential elections.
The worsening of the social conflict in Colombia caused by profound inequality is generating an outburst of discontent in various sectors that have historically been discriminated against. This context has strengthened the center-left forces that interpret this reality and promote a change of course. In view of the imminence of a social turn that would imply the beginning of the transformation in Colombia, sectors of the ultra-right in Latin America that represent the privileges of transnational capital began a campaign to delegitimize the opposition, converted into a real alternative of power. In that framework, the unfounded accusations against my political trajectory and my family environment should be interpreted.
The Colombian senatorial candidate for the historical Pact coalition condemned what she considered to be lawfare and media cancellation to exclude her from political life.
I reject the political persecution against me and the unfair handling of information such as that provided by the tabloid magazine Semana, contrary to the elementary principles of decent journalism. With all clarity, I must tell the country for many years there has been a maneuver activated against to violate my fundamental right to the presumption of innocence promoted by people interested in including my right to do politics. Enough of legal warfare and media lynching. I will continue fighting for a Colombia in peace and the triumph of the historical pact.
And the violence in Colombia claimed a new victim. A 14-year-old indigenous guard boy was killed by armed groups in Cauca. Brenier David was killed on January 14th when he went to ask for help because of the presence of armed groups near the community. In addition, indigenous guard Guillermo Chicame was killed, and officer Luis Fabián Camayo Guerrio of the NASA community of Las Delicias was seriously injured. According to the Association of Indigenous Councils of Northern Cauca, the armed group responsible for the murders was the self-proclaimed Coordinating Command of the West.
Parte del grupo de guardia indígena que acudió al llamado de la comunidad.
Now we move on to other topics. A solidarity shipment with 7 tons of powdered milk arrived in Cuba this Saturday, organized in a joint effort of the groups Brigades of Love, Code Pink, and the People's Forum from the United States. Representatives of the organizations that accompanied the air cargo stated that the shipment responds to the need to support the country in the face of the U.S. blockade and also its intensification in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. The powdered milk will be sent to the pediatric hospitals in Havana as token for love for the children of Cuba. Following the announcement of the shipment in the days prior to its arrival, the Bridges of Love project said in a statement that the funds raised for the milk and the charter flight came from an overflow of individual donations from people all over the United States.
With the work of many people, in addition to the donations, as you just said, the work of packing it and sending it here, renting the plane, all that is the work of many people.
Somalia's government spokesperson was wounded on Sunday in an explosion and a road injection set off of a suicide bomber. Mohammed Ibrahim Mohalimu appeared to be the sole target of the attack near his residence by a busy intersection in the capital, Mogadishu. The Al-Qaeda-linked Islamist militant group Al-Shabaab, in comments on its Andalus radio station, claimed responsibility for the attack on Mohammed Ibrahim Mohalimu, who was rushed to hospital and reported to be in stable condition. Prime Minister Mohammed Hussein Rabel, in whose office Mohalimu works, called to the bombing an odious terrorist attack in a statement on Twitter. And we have come to the end of this news brief. But remember, you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also, if you feel so inclined, please join us on social media for all the latest news. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Telegram. For TeleSUR English, I'm Gladys Quesada. Thank you for watching.